smooth green snake. This lean-built snake, much like its rough counterpart, is a North American native. It can be fed insects and kept in a compact container, like a 10-gallon vivarium, but it doesn't endure prolonged handling too well. They work well for people who want to maintain a reptile primarily for exhibition purposes rather than as an interactive pet. The smooth green snake's disposition and care needs are similar to those of its cousin, the rough green snake, which appears later in this list. The difficulties involved with finding this snake species sold for captivity is the reason that it's all the way at the 20th slot on the list. Wild smooth green snakes are troublesome creatures, never mind illegal to keep, and the number of certified breeders is quite nominal. But if you're looking for a good beginner pet snake, it isn't a bad option, assuming you can locate one. Even though they can't be held regularly, their small size allows for simple husbandry, simple feeding, and a good learning experience for any starting snake owner. Its lifespan is 15 years at most, while its price varies depending on where they're sold. Ringneck snake. Another North American native snake with a distinctive yellow or orange ring around its neck is an accurately named ringneck snake. The ringneck is tiny relative to its snake's cousins, measuring on average only a foot. These snakes require additional husbandry, such as adequate heating and lighting accommodations, than many others on this list, and their diet is largely composed of earthworms. They're typically placid and will put up with a limited duration of handling, but if this happens regularly without a break, they may grow agitated. Despite the fact that they carry venom to wound their prey, humans are safe from it, mainly because the snake's mouth is too small to issue any type of harmful bites. They are somewhat rare since they're not as prevalent as other pet snakes. They cost between $10 and $30 and have a lifespan of about a decade, though they more commonly last about 6 years in captivity. Rainbow boa. Although it is not typically suggested for beginners due to its demeanor, which can be reclusive and nippy, the rainbow boa, a South African native, has earned a position on this list due to its other redeeming traits. The most well-known and admired attribute of rainbow boas is definitely their magnificent coloring. They have skin that shines and gleams iridescently in the proper light. Due to their native tropical habitat, they require specialized care and particular tank conditions that include considerable heat and humidity. With repeated handling, the proper rainbow boa can become less belligerent and timid as it grows out of its nippy and shy phase of adolescence into adulthood. Even though they may require more maintenance, if enough time and attention are invested in their care, they turn out to be fantastic reptile pets. With that said, they're best suited for a novice keeper who is prepared to make a significant commitment and learn how to handle the animal properly. The average length of a rainbow boa is 5 to 9 feet, and they can live up to 20 years. Additionally, they're one of the pricier pets on our list, usually costing between $200 and $600. Various morphs, including albinos, can demand far more, costing up to $2,000 or even $3,000. Carpet python. The Australian carpet python can be found in several varieties and hues. The typical length of this python is 6 to 6.5 feet, making it slightly longer than other snakes. They require many of the same temperature, lighting, and feeding guidelines as other species on this list, including hot temperatures, consistent illumination, and rodent prey. Young carpet pythons are known to be nippy, but with regular handling, they tend to adjust and grow into tolerant adults. Generally, this is exactly the reason why most novice snake owners like to start with a more docile species. But this is no way to say that a carpet python won't turn out to be a great pet. Those who live with snakes with a variety of colors tend to especially gravitate to this snake. It can be purchased for between $100 and $300 with a lifespan of about 20 years. Cape house snake. The 2 to 4 foot long African native Cape house snake shares basic husbandry needs with other snakes. Its diet consists primarily of rodents. They aren't the most popular snake around, but they do make a great choice for beginners. They are reasonably priced, only between $60 and $150. They are generally timid in terms of disposition, and once acclimated to their new surroundings, are generally relaxed enough to be handled. They aren't overwhelming in size, and their bite, though it can happen, poses no dangerous threats. The one downside of the Cape House snake is that even with great care, they only live to about 8 years. Decays brown snake. Herpetologists don't think the Decays brown snake is a great option for keeping, but most snake experts agree that they do make a good novice owner choice. They don't have a very long lifespan, only about 7 years, but they cost only $10 to $30, and due to their small size, normally under a foot, don't require a habitat or tank as large as many other species. Most snakes require tight temperature control, with their tanks requiring particular warmth. This is due to the species' evolutionary acclimation to their native habitats. This species, however, is native to North America, meaning that they are more adept to colder climates, reducing the husbandry burdens on their keepers. Beyond that, the brown snake is curious by nature, so handling and surrounding human activity stress them out less. Their small size means that rather than eating rodents, they eat earthworms and small insects, which means their diet will be less costly to their owners. All of these factors combine to allow them to live and thrive with relatively small husbandry demands from beginner owners. African egg-eating snake. This snake's breed name is quite on the nose, as their diet is exclusive to consuming bird eggs. As one can imagine, this makes this type of very specific dietary necessity quite difficult for any owner. They can't consume chicken eggs, as those are too large, requiring quail or finch eggs instead. On the other hand, some owners may find this easier than feeding snakes rodents regularly. The African species doesn't grow beyond 2 to 2.5 feet, so they aren't particularly large. Because their native environments are arid, they don't have particular humidity requirements like many other snake species. The other upside of this snake is that when they feel defensive, they rely on mimicking the colors of other, more dangerous reptiles, rather than lunging for bites. Therefore, humans are safe from any bite risks from this species. They may take a little while to get used to being handled, but once acclimated to the practice after frequent human interactions, they're docile and calm during the process. They can be purchased for $60 to $160 and have a lifespan of about 15 years. Rat snake. The rat snake belongs to the same genus, Pantherophis, as its cousin, the corn snake, though it isn't as popular. Generally found throughout wooded areas and barns of the U.S., the average-sized rat snake, about 3 to 5 feet typically, primarily feasts on rodents. Their luring tactic to unwitting prey is that they lie motionless and play dead until the prey is near enough for a kill. Much like corn snakes, they are docile and shy by nature, even when regularly handled. Due to their native continent, they don't have severe heat requirements. Their tanks should still be on the hotter side, but when not in the tank, they are content with room temperatures as well. Their docile disposition and ease of care make them a great reptile pet choice for beginners of most ages. Depending on the morph choice, their prices can fall anywhere between $30 and $300. But with good care, the rat snake can live for as long as 30 years. Children's python. This python breed's name is not what you think. It was named after acclaimed zoologist John George Children and is a moderate-length reptile of about 2.5 to 4 feet from rock Australian terrains. While they're not as flashy or colorfully magnificent as some other snakes on this list, they are calm, used to handling when experiencing it frequently, and don't have overly particular husbandry demands. Beginner herpetologists can handle these snakes with relative ease. They can live as long as 3 decades, and depending on where they come from, range from about $70 to $350 in price. Rough green snake. This small, thin snake species can be found along the southeastern United States and parts of the northeastern Mexican regions. Considering the slenderness of their bodies, they can grow to an impressive length of about 2.5 feet. Generally found in wooded areas, they feed on spiders and other small insects. This makes them easier to take care of for beginner human keepers who don't wish to spend money on rodents. In broad terms, the husbandry requirements of this species aren't difficult. They can live for about 15 years in the wild, but they don't last quite as long in captivity. In terms of handling, their bodies make them easier to handle, but it isn't recommended, as they can easily become scared and stressed from such engagement too frequently. But in terms of pets for beginners who are just learning about taking care of a snake in captivity, rather than those looking to handle them frequently, the rough green snake makes a fine choice for a first-timer's reptile pet.